Welcome to Distracted the Podcast with Angela Lockwood, the place where you will find practical brain-boosting strategies, expert insights, and real-life stories to help busy brains thrive in the age of distraction. Let's go. Welcome to Distracted the Podcast. I am Angela Lockwood, and thank you so much for joining me today. I recently ran a masterclass for members of 31 Days to Focus, and I wanted to share with you some of the things that we talked about in that masterclass. And it was all about how do we set ourselves up for success with the habits that we create each and every day. And I love this topic because habits, I don't know, sometimes they have a bit of a negative connotation to them because we think about habits that aren't usually serving us very well. So we either eat too much chocolate or we sleep in too late or we scroll too much on social media. All these things, when we think about habits, we often connotate to something quite negative. But there are a lot of habits, equally as many habits, that serve us really well. And these habits that we create, sometimes even the good ones, have a negative connotation to them because we equate habits with effort. We equate habits with commitment and consistency and needing to even make some sacrifices. And all of this is true in some way, but it all depends on what framework we are, what perspective we're taking on when we create habits, right? So our habits need to serve us really well. Yes, our habits do need consistency. Yes, sometimes we do need to make some sacrifices, or I'd challenge you to look at them as investments in your health. But also, our habits are things that do take effort. But it's effort that will come back to us so much, that tenfold. It'll be effort that we'll put in, that when we do have consistency in putting in the effort and making those little investments, that before we know it, these habits become just a natural part of our life. And when we look at how do we set ourselves up for success in whatever area that is for your life, there are some really simple things that you can do, which I want to share with you today on today's episode, because I do get a lot of questions often from people saying, I find it really hard to know which habit or which action I need to take to help me move closer towards my goal. And because often there's so many different things that we can do. So let's have a look at what some of these are, and hopefully you'll get some really good ideas out of this episode that you can apply immediately to your life. But when we look at our habits, it's really important for us to take the time to look and ask ourselves, well, what does success look like? Now, in the context of setting goals, we usually find this a little bit easier. We go, well, I've either achieved that, or I've successfully, because I can tick that one off the list, or I've reached that milestone. But what I want to do is take you back a little bit and ask yourself the question more so around, what does success look like for you? And it may not be something tangible that you're working towards. It might be something like, I want to focus more on positive health habits, or I want to use my time better, or I want to minimize distractions in my life. Well, how do you know that those things are actually going to be achievable? What does that success look like for you? And for many people, success has a different frame, no matter how you look at it. So some people might be in this particular time, really success looks like having lots of money in their bank account. It might be that they get to take families on holidays, every year. Success might be looking like, they're getting to spend more time on their health and creating more focus around their habits. It could be buying something tangible like a boat or a flashy car or something that's important for you. Success might also look like, volunteering and having the time to be able to give back, and just being generous in the way that you spend your time, your money, and your attention. So success can look very different to many people. And that's why the question around asking, what does your success look like, is really important, because I could ask so many different people this question, and I do. And if I was to say, what does your success look like? Then it'll be different, because what drives you and what motivates you and what you're prepared to put in order to achieve that picture of success will be different to the person next to you. So, what does your success look like is an important question to write down. And the more clear that you can become right? Really visualize it. Draw a picture if you need to. Write it down. Grab pictures from Pinterest or grab pictures even out of magazines if you're still reading those. Screenshot pictures and put it in a collage on your vision board. The clearer that you can be around what success looks like for you, then implementing the daily habits and setting yourself up for success is a lot simpler. Because what we do too often is we don't think about, well, what does success really look like for me? So what we do is we just do things. We just get caught up in, it's like the hamster on the wheel. That saying, right? That they're just sort of running and not getting anywhere. And too often, because we haven't asked ourselves, well, what does success look like for me? What we're doing is we're scrambling. We're looking at trying to do everything, be everything to everyone else, and not really particularly doing anything that's moving us closer towards our success. So, the first question I want you to think about today: what does your success look like? Because what we know is where our attention goes, our energy flows. So, where you pay your attention to, where you look to, what you read, what you watch, what you think about, the people you surround yourself with, your energy flows to that. So if we look at it from the other perspective, if you are surrounding yourself with people who don't light you up, if you are reading negative media, if you are reading things that make you feel like you're less than, if you're looking at things that don't make you feel motivated, then what happens is your energy flows towards that. So your energy goes, well, that must be where I need to pay my attention. But what we know to be true is if you flip that and you go, well, I'm going to surround myself with the things that I do want, the vision that I do have, the success that I have, like it's already here. If I can focus on those things, then what we start to see, and it's through the law of attraction, that those things start to enter our lives in a different way. Now, it doesn't mean that they're magically implemented in our lives because we have to do the work, right? But without those images of visualizing and taking our attention to things that we really love and that we want to be a part of, and that, maybe the version of us that we want to be or the habits we want to implement, if we aren't bathing ourselves in that information, then where are we putting our attention and our energy? We're putting it into all the other stuff that doesn't work. And I know this was a real pivotal point for me just recently was, well, actually, I've done it so many times throughout my career. I realized that one of my habit traps is that I fall back into focusing my energy on the things that I don't want to happen. So let me say that again, focusing on the things that I don't want to happen. And because I'm focusing my energy there, well, my attention there, my energy just keeps going to preventing the things from not happening. And what that always is it's coming from a place of lack. It's coming from a place where we go, well, I don't want that to happen. So I'm going to put my energy into stopping that. Whereas if I could flip that, and I do, and this is one of my habits that I really work on, is looking at, well, what do I want? What are the things in my life that I want more of? What are the things in my life that, I'd like to invite in or I'd like to be a part of? I would like to grow. And it comes from, and you can even hear it in the language and in the energy, that one comes from a vision of lack and one comes from a vision of abundance. And before I lose you, some people get a bit woo-woo about the word abundance, but I love it because abundance is all around us. We have so many things that we have in our lives, and unfortunately, we don't often see it. We don't take the time to look at how much we actually have in our lives, how much energy, how much love, how much attention, how much generosity that we have in our life because our attention is focusing on the lack. Our attention is focusing on the things that we don't have or the things that we want to stop. So rather than, for example, being focused on wanting to spend more quality time with your family, rather than looking at it in a negative way and saying, I don't want my kids to not want to be around home. Okay, I don't want my kids to always be going out all the time. Flipping that around and go, well, how can I be more inviting in my family and have these beautiful family experiences where people want to be a part of it? Very different mindset. So remember, where your attention goes, your energy flows. So the beautiful thing is you can always choose where your attention goes. You have that ability to be able to Choose, I either want to pay attention to that or that. And what I encourage you to do is pay your attention to the things that give you more energy, excite you, that make you want to grow, because your energy will flow to that. And we know in growth, it's so beautiful when we can put our energy into growing rather than staying still. Because through momentum, our energy will just keep going. So the two things we've talked about so far is, what does your success look like? Really important question. The second thing is, where are you paying your attention to at the moment? Are you paying attention to things to try to stop it from happening, or things that you don't want through a lens of lack? Or are you focusing your attention to growth and the things that you already have in your life that is wonderful and, exciting for you? Because we know that our attention and our energy are so closely linked. So, what I want to share with you now is, how do we focus on those healthy habits of ours? How do we actually, like, where do we put our focus so that we can create intentional habits? That if we know what our success looks like and we want to pay our attention to these great things, then how do we do it? So, there's three big things. Okay. I call them my big three. So, grab a pen and paper and write this down. Or if you're driving, please don't do that. Excuse me. So the big three is mindset, environment, and time. So what we know, okay, with through environment, is that it actually shapes the way that our life unfolds. So it shapes our perceptions, it influences how we respond to things, but it also then determines the outcomes of things that happen. So how we approach or how we enter a situation and how we think about a situation, well, that's really how our life unfolds, right? The way that we see the world, the lens that we see the world, will be, of course, how our lives are seen. So our mindset is so important when it comes to how we approach the things that we've got to do in our day. And let me give you an example of one that a habit that I create to help me with my mindset. And it helps me to focus and just recenter, start the day, end the day. I call these my bookend routines. Bookend, like the bookends on a shelf, that how I start my day and how I finish my day are two really important routines that I have built into my day to help me with my mindset. And so the first thing in the morning is, I have, I guess, a pattern or a routine that I go through to help me get in the frame of growth and of gratitude for the things that I have in my life. So, one of the things I do before I even wake up, well, just as I'm waking up, I'm sort of in that blurry moment of that blurry haze of waking, big deep breath, get the energy coming straight through to my body, just waking up. So, tick, one amazing thing done already. And then before I even move out of bed, as I'm taking those deep breaths, I just think about my day ahead. Okay. I don't think about what meetings I've got to attend. I don't think about my to do list, but I look forward to the day and I think, how do I want my day to unfold today? What are the things, like, what's sort of the feeling that I want from today? What are the actions that I want to take today, so that I create this wonderful day of growth and, as however I want that day to unfold. So already, before really I open my eyes, I've already given my body a great hit of positive energy, but I've also visualized my day and I've anchored my thoughts of what I want my day to look like before my feet even hit the ground. Two really simple things, free, quick, make so much difference. And then as I sit up, I have a glass of water next to my bed. I take a big chug of water, because what that does is it hydrates me straight away. It's like resetting my body to go, hey, welcome, wake up. This is great. Here's another gift for you for the day. What I do, depending on my toileting needs at the time, I'll either go to the bathroom or I will get my journal out of my bedside table and a pen. And what I do is I frame what my day looks like. So I've already thought about it, but now what I do is I set my intentions for the day. So I'll write down, today I will. This will happen for me today. I will make these decisions today. Now, some decisions, of course, we make about 60,000 decisions each and every day. So it's impossible to sit there and write all of them down. But the big ones that I know will have a big impact on my day is what I think about. Okay, so I write that down and I always make sure that I'm writing it in a way that it's already happened. It's not like a wish list. It is sort of an intention, a very clear intention that today this is what's going to happen. And this was a game changer habit for me, because what I used to do is I would journal only at nighttime. And what I started to see was a pattern that was coming up in my journaling at nighttime, which was a lot of negative things. I was reflecting. Yep, there was a big gratitude component to it that I love, but it was all often about downloading my frustration of the day, the things that didn't go well, or it was like an opportunity for me to vent. But through doing that, which was really important at times, really important, it wasn't allowing me to set the frame for how I want my day to be. What it was after the thought. So it was after what had happened during the day. I looked back and I was like, well, I'll just sort of review the day rather than setting forward what I wanted to happen. When I started to do this and set how I wanted the day to look, oh my goodness, it absolutely changed how my day unfolded. And in fact, what ended up happening is I would go to the end of the day, I would look back, and what astounded me was what I said would happen always happened. And it may not have been exactly to the point, but pretty much in that field, it happened. And it was such a huge game changer for me. So you think before I even really get out of bed, um, some of the things I've done is I have given beautiful oxygen to my body. I've thought about how I want my day to look and visualized it and given thanks. And I give thanks for the beautiful sleep I had or for the beautiful morning it looks like it is outside. And then I've taken a big gulp of water, hydrated my body, and then I set my intentions for the day. And I really feel that when I do this bookend morning routine, it makes me feel in control. Okay. Now it makes me feel in control and empowered in a way where I go, yeah, today is my day. I know what I'm doing today. So then that way I'm not rolling over, picking my phone up and scrolling and inviting everyone else into my morning routine through social media or through my emails. Because I know I'll get to that. But what I want is this sacred space to go, today I choose it to look like this and choose it to be like this. And therefore I'm in the driver's seat. So there are a few other things I do after that, but that is always before my feet hit the floor. And the moment my feet hit the floor, I give myself a little pep talk. Sometimes it's like, let's do this, and today's going to be a great day. And I now just naturally do it. When you start it might feel a little bit forced. It might feel a little bit cheesy almost, but it's amazing. No one very rarely during your day, particularly as an adult, gives you a high five and says how awesome today is. This is going to be great, very positive, sort of pep talks. Very rarely do we have that cheerleader. So why don't be that? Why don't you be that yourself first thing in the morning and just give yourself that rev up and go, today's going to be a great day. Because the other option of that, you roll out of bed, you go, oh my gosh, I'm so tired, I'm sore, that was a terrible sleep. Today's going to be stressful. Oh my gosh, I'm going to have to go in that traffic and I've got all these meetings, blah, blah, blah. And so which one do you choose for your day? Do you want to choose the one where you go through and you just predict everything's going to be terrible? Or do you choose the other one where you go, how great is today going to be? I can't wait to jump into it. I know which one I choose. So the bookending your day is a really great mindset habit. There are more, but that's the one that I find really supports my day. And then that means at the beginning of the day, I've got a bookend a routine, and at the end of the day, I have another bookend routine, which means winding down. And it has to do with the lighting that I have in the home, and it has to do with what I watch before I go to bed. I always make sure I read while I'm in bed. Write down some of the things that I am really thankful for the day. So I'm coming from a place of gratitude. And it is these bookend habits that really set my day up for success, because whatever happens in between it, it's like the dash on a headstone. That's the thing that really matters, is the dash between the dates of when you're born and when you die. What you do in between is what matters. And just like the bookend routines, beginning of the day, end of the day, everything else in between, you get to choose then. And so you get to create how that happens in the morning and in the night. And then during the day, you get to make all those wonderful choices about how your day unfolds. So let's go to number 2 of the big 3. Okay, so the big 3, we've got mindset, environment, and time. Now let's look at environment. An environment is the space with which you do your work, you live your life, and you are. And I love environment because this, again, just is so different for so many people. And we're not all just sitting in an office, right? We're not all sitting in front of a computer all day, every day. Some people are in workplaces, some people are at home, some people are out in the community, some people are in bushland, some people are on rivers. We've got so many different work environments. So it's really a challenge to be able to just recommend one type of work environment. But no matter where you find yourself in doing your work, think about the space in which you do your most creative work. And this needs to be a space that has clarity in it. So that is clear, it's a clear space, it's uncluttered. And I see this so many times when I walk into workspaces to run mentoring programs in particular. I walk into somebody who's super stressed, who's obviously engaged me to help them find focus in their work and in their life. And the first thing I notice is their office is a mess. Their office is so untidy. They've got your piles on their desk, and they say, "Yeah, but I can find everything." But what we know is our brain feels overwhelmed when it sees clutter. So the moment that your brain steps into a cluttered environment, or your body with your brain steps into a cluttered environment, it automatically goes into a state of stress and into a state of overwhelm. So even though you might be able to find something, your brain feels stressed being in that environment. So wherever, whether it be paperwork, whether it be tools, whether it be in your car, and you look around the seat of your car, in your car at the moment, and there's chip packets on the floor, and there's, empty coffee cups here, there, and everywhere, your brain automatically feels overwhelmed the moment it sits in that car. So just think about your workspace. Is it a workspace that feels clear, that feels engaging, that makes you feel lighter? Or is it a workspace where you feel heavy, that you feel frantic, and sometimes you just feel a little bit sad and you just go, "Oh, I don't really love this space." It is so worth the time investment for you to get into a habit of just clearing it out every now and again, and having systems in place. It doesn't have to be the perfect, labeled system, but giving yourself, it might be on a Friday afternoon that you just clear the space up ready for the week ahead. And that's another lovely, beautiful habit and routine that you can get into. Let's look at the third one, which is time. Okay. And there's obviously lots of strategies I can share with you, and I do when I'm in my mentoring programs or my 31 Days to Focus program. But for this episode today, these top three of mindset, environment, and time is what I want you to take away. So, mindset, my big one is bookending routines, beginning and end of the day. And then the other one is looking at your environment. Okay. Does it inspire you? Does it help you feel clear? Does it help you feel focused? Or is it totally distracting and overwhelming for you? Okay. The third one was time. I've got a bit of an obsession with time, I have to admit. Time is something where it's not going to ever wait for us. Okay. Time, we've all got the same amount of time. We can all choose how we use our time. But sometimes we don't have that flexibility, right? To just sit there and go, "Well, I don't want to do this. I want to do something else." So, how we use our time is really important. Okay. And there's a thing where I think what we try to do too often, and I hear this a lot, is that people try to cram too much into the time that they have. Okay, and I'm somebody who does this a little bit too often myself, is that we overestimate the amount of time we have. And so what we do is we fill a list of things, we write a list of things that really will take 3 days to do, but we feel like we need to do it by lunch. And what happens is we don't get through it at all, or we're fragmented in the way that we're working through it. So we don't do any of it particularly well. We're just sort of scraping the surface. Where some of them, if we just had 2 or 3 items from that list where we can go deeper with it, where we can think about it more, then the ripple effect to the other things sometimes means we don't actually have to do some of them. Or if we go deeper on something and put a little bit more time into something else, not only do we not have to do anything, but sometimes we don't actually have to be the person that does it either. We could have somebody else do it. We could delegate it to somebody else, or it becomes somebody else's responsibility. So, doing deep work is really important for our focus. It's also important for the quality of our work. So, when we look at our time, are you over scheduling? So, are you overestimating the amount of time you really have to do the work that you do. And another thing that we do, we love to tick boxes, right? We love to get to the end of the day and feel that sense of achievement. We want that sort of dopamine feel good hit. But if we have a to-do list that's never ending, if we get to the end of the day and we've done like one or two things on what we wanted to set out to for that day, then we get this sense of not being good enough, never being able to do their work properly, not being able to keep up. And we get into this negative thinking spiral. Whereas if you have one or two things on your list and you get that done and you get it done really well, then you get to the end of the day and you have that sense of accomplishment. And then that means the next day you wake up feeling more optimistic, more positive about what you have to do for the day ahead. Okay, so time use is not always about doing more things. Sometimes how we use our time is actually about doing less and doing less, but going deeper on it. Okay. So rather than having 20 to do things on your list today or feeling like you can do that project and that project and that project and attend all these meetings, then what if you just looked at the top two of those things and go, what are the things I can go really deep on that would make the biggest difference? And that's where you pay your attention to for that day. So before we wrap up, the questions, just to recap, what does your success look like? So what does that look like for you, right? Understanding that where your attention goes, your energy will flow to it. So paying attention to things that make you feel more energized, that make you feel like they're achievable. Because if we're looking at the way that you spend your time, your daily habits, the things that make you, move closer towards what your success looks like, then don't you want to be putting your energy into things that work towards that rather than keeping you stuck? I know I do. I talked about the big three. So mindset, the importance of mindset, how you look at what you do in your day, the habits that you create, the attention that you give, the perspective that you take really does shape how your day unfolds. So spending time learning about your mindset and creating great habits to support positive mindset will have a big difference in how your day unfolds as well. And then the second one was your environment. Do you need to spend some time in your environment where you are clearing space so that great things can enter? You're clearing your space so that you're giving your brain the best possible strategies for it to work at its best. And it can't do that when it's in a cluttered environment. The third one was time. Okay, are you overscheduling your time? Are you creating too much, congestion in your day when actually if you just create a little bit of space in your day and focused on the one or two big things, would the ripple effect help you with your attention and your focus? And I can guarantee your energy will thank you for it. And anyway, it feels good too, doesn't it, to be able to get to the end of the day and feel some success. So I ask you, what's your one thing you're going to do from this episode? I always like to think about, well, if you've spent the time listening to the episode, what are you going to do? How are you going to implement this in your life? Because I would love for you to learn something, but I would even more so love for you to implement a strategy that makes a difference in your life. So is it going to be one of the big three, or is it going to be spending some time looking at what your success looks like? And it doesn't matter which one you choose, it's going to be time well spent. Thank you so much for spending your time with me. If you want any more information around the programs that I provide, either 31 Days to Focus or any of the bespoke programs around transforming to thrive for workplaces, supporting childcare educators with better understanding and loving the work that they do, then please head on over to angelalockwood.com.au and check it all out there. But in the meantime, you can listen to this podcast on any of the amazing platforms that are out there. Just look for Distracted with Angela Lockwood. And if you think somebody would benefit from hearing this episode, then please share it with them with a sense of generosity and thanks to them for being the amazing human they are, and that you're looking out for them and making sure that they can truly be at their best. So until next time, I'm Angela Lockwood, everybody. Take care, and we'll see you soon.